Okay, it's getting very hot in here, so I'm gonna film this one very fast. Hiya Hinstas, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome too. Happy Saturn Day, day of Saturn, of course, which is retrograde in Pisces right now, about which I have made a video, by the way, go check that out. Anywho, I'm back today in yes, I still have a bit of a cold lingering. I'm back today in this video with a continuation of my Reading Back series. For those who are brand new, this is just a vloggy type of thing that I'm doing where I consult my journal and look back at the previous astrological season and see how the transits and whatnot played out. Now, I am a Cancer rising, so Cancer season for me is always my first house season, which is the season of the ascendant or the rising sign and all the first house stuff, which includes the body, the personality, the aura, the very spirit, the health, and more. By the way, every time that you have your first house season, you're also having your ascendant birthday or your real astrological birthday. Also, I've got my natal moon and Chiron in Cancer. So, of course, Cancer season is one of my favorite or most dynamic seasons of the astrological year. Alrighty, so as some of you know already, I have moved to live and work in South Korea for the long term. And as I film this video, I will have been in Korea for almost 1 month now. I arrived here on a Sunday, and by the way, it's not my first time in Korea, just to clarify. I have a PhD in Korean studies. I've been to Korea many times. But I've never worked in Korea, so this is brand new. But yeah, I arrived here on a Sunday and went straight into my new job the very next day, which was obviously rather fun, what with the jet lag and all. But honestly, it has been such a beautiful beginning to my new job. I'm a teacher, like I was doing in the UK. In the UK, I was doing other work as well, working at a wine bar, in restaurants, that jazz. But the other thing that was brand new for me, except living in Korea, was that I'm teaching elementary school kids, which I never imagined myself doing. But in reality, it's such a brilliant privilege. And my favorite thing so far is seeing the kids' faces light up when they are learning something new or seeing something for the first time. And by the way, the first house is also associated with brand new beginnings, firsts. It is the house of firsts. It's the house of, I think it was called something like the house of the helm of the ship, if that's the word for the front part of the ship in ancient astrology. So yes, it was also associated with fronts of things, and it is the house of vehicles in the sense of your personal vehicle or your spiritual spaceship, if you like. All that kind of stuff is in the first house. So that was quite interesting. And also, these kids have called me handsome like more times than all of my exes combined. So yeah, these kids are already in my good books. So as you can probably imagine, most of my Cancer season has been spent with the sort of first half, the June half-ish, saying lots of goodbyes, mini parties, little drinksies with family and friends in the UK. And then the second kind of July half, roughly, predominantly was spent trying to settle here into my new place and job and neighborhood and get through really tight on the edge financial sort of experiences, and then finally boom, get paid and being able to acquire all the things I needed. and all that jazz. And also just like settling into obviously my new job and the neighborhood that I'm in here in Korea and the city I'm in, which I'd never been to this city. Um, and around June 26th, I was having my natal new moon. So that's when the sun moved exactly onto my natal moon. And I wrote in my journal about just the time spent with my family up in the northern UK. And I had such a lovely time there. You know, we visited an island. That's one of the things we did. An island I'd never been to before. We went to an open air museum, which I haven't been to since I was a kid. Um, but also, it was at this time that my auntie gave me this ring I have here. I'll just try and show you. Yeah, this ring. She gave me this ring from my late grandmother, which is very beautiful. But most important, I can remember like my family ancestors every time I look at it, and feel closer to them, even all these thousands of miles away. We also did like a lot of the typical cancer season, cozy, homely stuff, drinking copious amounts of tea, gin, chocolate, watching films, documentaries, and yeah, all the places we went, there were just so many beautiful flowers of all colors and types. And as you may know, I do describe Cancer season as like flowers blossoming, flowers rising. That's Cancer season. Cancer is also the horse spirit, by the way. In the tarot, we see this also in the Chariot card, a spirit or a season where we wrangle both tenacity and flightiness during also also in what do I want to say? Spending this time then with my family, it helped me reconnect a lot with my own spirit and my own spirit guides and horses. I learned actually during that trip that horses were actually used a lot to create antidotes to snake bites, which I didn't know. And horses, you know, yeah, they apparently have that level of strength and virility. And this reminded me also of in Chinese astrology, there are some tellings of horse and snake sort of mysticisms and how during the royal race the horse was taken aback at the sight of the snake and the horse got slowed down. Uh, Even though in fact the snake is so much smaller and actually even its venom can be tolerated by the horse. But yeah, in Cancer season, we can anyway kind of over catastrophize things and overthink and over worry about things. Cancer does sextile Virgo, and Cancer risings will probably strongly resonate with this. But also, and I was reminded of this recently, like horse spirit or horse and snake, people born in these 2 years, they get on like a house on fire, sexually at least. I was born in the metal horse year, by the way. Let me know in the comments your Chinese astrology. I'd love to know what animals are watching. Anyway, yes, I enjoyed catching up with the younger members of my family as well, and hearing them sort of tell me all about the most recent anime they're reading or game they're playing. It was great and just like pure sunshine to kind of witness their pure passion and also the intense level of detail on the characters that they went into. And at that point, I did not know actually. I still had no idea then what type of or grade of school I was going to be working in, but it was anyway grand to be able to like ground myself in more in the mind, the interests of people much younger than me, kind of what gets them ticking, what's their kind of learning styles. Now, when I actually got to Korea then and started my job on July 6th, two of my students, they randomly gave me a couple gifts. It was really cute. One of them was a toy truck, and the other was like a cute little illustration. I was really touched. Um, yeah, just lots of cuteness. Let's, before I end this video, then talk a bit about the new moon in Cancer that we had too. This one was a new moon in my first house, of course, and it was definitely a wild mix of things. And, you know, as a Cancer rising, new moons are always important because the moon is the chart ruler, or what I call the life path ruler. And around this new moon, I had some of the best Nuki I've ever had in quite some time. I even met him one more time. But anyway, on the very next day, I got another kind of double whammy. And this time it was like a big surprise sort of staff dinner at the school, which was really fun. Great to connect with these new colleagues, and a bit overwhelming. Um, but I also, on that same day, found out that I have latent tuberculosis, which apparently is more common than initially I thought. It's not the actual tuberculosis that's pass-onable. It's more like latent or dormant. You know, if I were to get really weak in the future, I could be more susceptible to TB emerging. So they put me on this course of medicine, which typically reduces the potential of that by like 60 to 90%. What anyway I found really poignant about that is that the new moon, of course, was opposing the retrograde Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto is often associated with latent, subverted, cloaked things. Watch my video, by the way, on Pluto in the birth chart if you haven't already. So yeah, I also can't drink alcohol for 4 months while taking this medicine, which in Korea is going to be a nice challenge, let's say. And also, really oddly, during this new moon, so I brought a lot of my vitamins and stuff with me as well from the UK, and my vitamin C, they all melted, like they just all became powder. And I found that really interesting. Having Pluto opposing the sun. The sun, of course, rules things that are citrus, and Pluto very often is associated with things like poison and even destruction. But anyway, that was quite interesting. Around the exact same time, finding out about the latent TB and like my vitamin C melting, and all that jazz. So yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say. I'd love to hear about your Cancer season, how it was this last month. Let me know. And I'm wishing you a very happy weekend, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.